Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about design thinking and generating new ideas. Let's start by looking at this diagram. You may have seen it before. It's the classic design thinking model developed by the Hasso-Plattner Institute at Stanford University and US design consultancy IDEO. You'll see that the first stage in the model is empathy, something we've talked about a lot in these videos. Empathy deserves its place at the beginning, because if we aren't willing to see the world from the point of view of the person with the problem, we aren't going to get far. The next stage is defining the problem. Now you might think this part isn't too difficult. Haven't the assessments in this course already come with the problem defined? Think back to assessment 1. You were asked to provide visual instructions on how to perform an everyday activity without using letters or numerals. So what was the point of these instructions? It was to solve someone's problem, an imaginary someone who wanted to know how to make a cup of coffee or whichever task you chose. Let's use empathy to paint a picture of this someone. Baraka is a graduate chemistry student. She is visiting Newcastle for a water polo competition. Being from Ethiopia, Baraka loves coffee, but she has never used this type of coffee machine before. Her host family has gone out, so there's no one to show her. So the real problem you were solving with your visual instructions was this. How can Baraka use this machine to satisfy her desire for a cup of coffee? Now, let's do something similar with assessment 2. You were asked to design a puzzle that's harder to solve for a sighted person than for a blind person and demonstrate your results. So what is the point of these instructions? Just as in assessment 1, it's about solving someone's problem, but this time the problem is less explicit. So the best responses to assessment 2 will be those that come up with a real problem and solve it, not just a clever puzzle. So ask yourself, how can I create something that actually solves someone's problem? I'll leave you with that challenge while we move on to the next stage of the design thinking diagram. Ideation. It means coming up with ideas. Sounds simple, doesn't it? So how do we come up with ideas? Here are 3 ways that the evidence suggests really do work. Method number 1, go for a walk. Creative people from Steve Jobs to Albert Einstein have been great believers in walking, and the science supports them. Stanford University found that walking increases a person's creative output by an average of 60%. Walking is especially helpful in sparking so-called divergent thinking, the kind of uninhibited brainstorming we need at the beginning of a problem-solving process. Method number 2, sketch it. Sketching isn't about being a good artist, but it is a great way to quickly set down an idea and move on to the next one. You don't have to explain it in words or spend time trying to make it look good as you would if you're using a computer. Random doodling is a good way to get your creative juices flowing, and a sketch can be very useful when you're trying to show your ideas to someone else. Method number 3, establish creative habits. Habit and creativity sound like opposites, but it's hard to come up with creative ideas if you don't build time for them into your life. If you're feeling uninspired or tempted to procrastinate, try this. Put away any distractions and set a timer for 15 minutes. Aim for quantity, not quality. How many ideas can you write down or sketch? Who knows? When the timer runs out, you may feel inspired to keep going. I'd encourage you to try one or more of these methods and report back in the discussion board. In the notes with this video, I've put some links to more information about generating ideas, as well as some questions for reflection. In a future video, we'll look at what to do with all these ideas and how to narrow them down to the one.